You know, I find these stand to reason videos, the ones they make for their students, absolutely hysterical. Their quick tips are just excuses for how to fail gracefully, and most of the time, not so gracefully. So let's see what Alan Shlemon has to say this time around. Away we go. A lot of people don't know this, but Stand to Reason really exists to train students how to, quote unquote, defend their faith and bring others to Christ. They do it by selling books and videos and begging for donations, and now they've taken to making excuse videos for when their students realize that they've got nothing at all of substance to say to anyone with half a clue about Christianity. It's a plea to keep giving them money and not being afraid to run away screaming whenever someone doesn't automatically buy into their religious nonsense. And this must be a major problem for them because these videos come out pretty regularly these days. So here's another one where Alan tells his students not to bother backing up anything it says in the Bible, just throw the Bible at them and hope it works. This is getting really, really sad.
Here's your apologetics tip of the day. Focus on the gospel, not on apologetic arguments.
And that's only useful if the Gospels are actually valuable, which is something that you might believe, but whoever you're talking to probably doesn't. This is one of those things that the religious try all the time, and it really never works out that well. They pretend that because they are convinced by a particular argument, or a particular argument sounds good to them, that it's going to convince everyone and sound good to everyone. And it never really works out that way.
You know, sometimes we're so eager to try out our arguments that we initiate discussions about some apologetic subject as if that's the most important thing to discuss. It's not.
Well, yeah, it kind of is. If your point is to convince the other party that you're right, then the only way to do that is to present your best arguments and your best evidence to show that you are. Pretending that you're automatically right because you believe some emotionally laden nonsense in an ancient book of mythology, that's not going to convince anyone of anything, at least not anyone who has a clue. Well, it will convince them that you're an idiot. I'm not sure if that's really your point. Now, if that's what you want, yeah, go for it. I really don't recommend it, though.
Right? I mean, if you have the opportunity to bring up the gospel, that matters more than any other subject.
No, it doesn't. Seriously, put yourself in the other guy's shoes. If a Scientologist comes up to you and starts to talk about Dianetics, are you really going to care? No, you're probably not. Why? Because you have no reason to take anything it says in Dianetics seriously. You'd need for them to prove that anything in Dianetics is meaningful or true before you'd have any reason at all to bother thinking about it. But we know, you don't think about these crazy things when they come out of your mouth. So I guess that's no surprise.
Now, if they reject the gospel for some reason, then you can use your apologetics to address their concern.
Yeah, but if they don't reject the gospel, then they're irrational idiots just like you are. Now, I guess this is a shortcut to find people who are already gullible, so you don't have to do a lot of work. But if they magically accept the gospel, aren't they already likely to be Christians and not anyone you ought to be trying to convert? Logic, McFly. Give it a shot sometime.
Remember, apologetics is not an end in itself.
The end ought to be the truth and convincing others that you have it. Because if this is just about finding the stupidest people you can that you can get them to say, oh, hey, I got a convert today, with the least effort possible, Honestly, that's really not something you ought to be proud of.
The end is the gospel, and apologetics is simply a means to that end. And it can help you remove obstacles that people might have that keep them from accepting Christ.
Why should anyone accept Christ if you can't even show that the gospel is true? Oh, right, I know. This is all about feelings, not about facts. I keep forgetting. That's why you really don't want your students to go after well-educated, rational atheists, because we'd just wipe the walls with them. Then they'd get sad and they'd stop paying you people for your crappy lessons. So, yeah, I guess we all know what this is about.
So if you're in a conversation and you can lead the discussion in any direction, lead them to understand what Christ has done for them.
Without being able to prove that any of it at all, is so. Take the lowest effort path conceivable. Look for the lowest imaginable common denominator. Find dumb people who don't ask questions and don't really take much to convince. Dumb arguments for dumb students used against dumb people. It's the STR way.
That's your apologetics tip of the day.
And that's our crappy idea for the day. Now, send us more money so we can keep making videos telling you why you can't actually accomplish anything useful. Honestly, this is pretty much all they're doing these days. This isn't apologetics. This is laziness. Don't worry about those arguments that we half-heartedly taught you. Just throw your Bible at people and hope they respond to it. And if they don't, well, then run away, like we tell you to in every other video, because none of the garbage we're teaching you will actually work against an intelligent, educated, rational opponent. It's why none of the STR trio will actually debate any credible atheists. They don't have the guts to go out and show their students how it's actually done, because I think they know that none of it actually works. That's why they spend so much time telling their students that if it doesn't work instantly, turn tail and run for the hills. You can't expect to stand your ground against anyone who knows your tricks and can defeat them easily. Instead of actually coming up with decent arguments that can withstand intellectual scrutiny, you teach people to flee. Don't try too hard. Give up. It's what STR wants. Why does anyone pay attention to these morons again? Someone, please explain.